Hey there, my name is John Suscovich, and I want to go over how my first year farming, I've been doing this for a while, but in 2013, when I was striking out on my own, I grossed $25,000 with 50 customers, raising 1,200 chickens. I did everything all on my farm, all by myself. It was a crazy time, and I want to share those details so that you can learn and grow from it, and you can see what I managed that year and how you may be able to take away something that affects your year this year in 2019. So in Connecticut, I can only process on farm if I'm pre-selling the live bird and I'm processing it as a convenience. It's the custom slaughter exemption. And now to get around that and to have reliable repeat customers, I started a chicken CSA where people gave me the money up front. They owned all the birds, and then I would raise and process them for them and then deliver them fresh on a week-to-week basis so that everybody got the birds that they were expecting, and I was within the letter of the law. Now, with that chicken CSA, I had a goal of 50 shares, 50, and I met that goal. So let's write that down on the board. So my 50 full shares, and I sold some half shares, which then counts as a half a share. So you have to sell two things to two customers, but it's a full share. So 50 shares, one share is chicken a week for 20 weeks. And that's my sales thing. What's a CSA? It's a chicken a week for 20 weeks. And in that first year, I filled up my 50 shares, so I had accounted for 1,000 chickens. And then I had 10 extra chickens per week. I raised actually 60 chickens per week instead of the 50 that I needed for the shares, because I knew that I was a young farmer and I had some learning to do. I had to go up the learning curve, and if I had some loss that week, if things didn't pan out the way I expected them to, if I had loss in the brooder and then my numbers were down by the time I processed, I had a margin of error to work within. And if I had extra birds because I had planned for 50 sales but I had 60 birds, then I would go to my email list, and for those CSA members who wanted some extras to save up for the winter, or if people wanted to buy ad hoc but didn't want to buy a whole share where they're locking into those 20 chickens, I would say I have 7 birds extra this week on my email list who would like to buy some, and then I would fill up those orders, and I had a paper trail to let me know who bought them, the fact that they agreed to buy them ahead of time, and then I would deliver them later in the week after I had done all of the things that I needed to do. Now, how did I work out the pricing for my CSA? Well, if I average a 4-pound process weight for my birds, which very often they are over that, and it's $6 a pound retail, if that makes for a $24 chicken. Now you times a $24 chicken times 20, you get $480 for 20 chickens, and then we say $20 for the tax man. It helps us out with some administrative fees and things that we hadn't built into the price of the chicken. So all in all, $500 gets you a chicken a week for 20 weeks. Now, what we do to add value to the customers is we track every week what is the size of the bird that they're going to get, and that gives us a data set, which is great for us to use for our marketing and great for the customer. So we track what the weights are that they get, and very often that they get birds that are above 4 pounds, and when they're above 4 pounds, they're locked into that 4-pound price. So per our number tracking, our average CSA member saved about $72 off the full retail price over the course of the season by going with our chicken CSA. And this gave us the guaranteed customers, the guaranteed 50 customers that I needed for that year. But because the birds were coming in a little heavier, they were getting savings. So there was a benefit for them for joining the CSA. They got a consistent supply, they got some savings, and then I got the consistent income. Now, I made some extra money with those 10 extra birds a week. Some weeks I had extra birds, some weeks I didn't. Some weeks people didn't show up, and that was all right because maybe I processed 48 that week instead of 50. But all in all of this worked out fairly well enough to keep me going for that area of the business. And now this is just one look at one area of the business in my life, but you kind of get the point where I structured a CSA to get the upfront income. I grossed about $25,000. That's gross, that's not net. And I did the math in a way that worked out for me, and that is how I structured it, and that is how it worked out for my chicken CSA. Now, we carried that model going forward into future years. We've made a few slight tweaks here and there, but all in all, that is the core of our CSA pricing and the value that we add to the customers and the value that they add to us. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, or better yet, go to farmmarketingsolutions.com, and then at the bottom of the homepage, there's an Ask Me Anything form. If you have anything chicken related, anything chicken and finance related, I totally want to hear your questions, because then I will create an Ask Me Anything video about it. And by the way, this CSA model is completely detailed in one of my books, Pasture Poultry Packet number 2, which is available on that same website in the store. That's all I got for now. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you learned something valuable today, and until next time, I will see you out in the field.